flotation. So even if the engine does shut down, the craft will come off the pocket of air and remain floating. After several hours of practicing flying in the water, bring your craft onto the land in an open area such as this. Notice that it's not necessary to go fast in order to maneuver the craft on the land. By gradually turning the handlebars, the rudders will turn, and by shifting your body weight, you can turn the craft from side to side. It's very important to remember that speed is not important when learning to fly your Scat hovercraft. Any sudden movement from side to side will cause the craft to jump from one direction to the other. Keeping your body centered and balanced will allow the craft to fly. Just as on water, your body must be balanced in the craft in order for takeoff. Notice that being too far forward will not enable the craft to lift. Keeping your body balanced in the craft will enable it to fly on a cushion of air. By turning the handlebars and proper body English, you notice that you will have smooth, even turns. At higher speeds, when making a left or a right-hand turn, it is important to remember to slowly release the throttle. A quick release of the throttle can cause the craft to flip. Whenever you want to change direction or stop the craft, a 180-degree turn is the best maneuver. Maintain throttle control throughout the turn. Keeping your body balanced in the craft will enable it to stay on a cushion of air. A gradual release of the throttle will allow it to stop. At higher speeds, just as on water, stopping is achieved by moving your body towards the back of the craft and releasing the throttle.
That's pretty much what Alison was doing, right? By the way, we are going to show you some of the hovercraft racing footage later in the program. Right now, Kim is anxious to show Alison up. Let's see if she remembers to talk.
Well, one thing is for sure, this thing is fun. Everybody is having a good time. Are you really ready to do this, Kim?
I am ready, I think.
You look like you're shivering a little bit.
It's a little bit cold, I guess, because I'm also nervous.
Okay, well, Lamar just ran through it a little bit. You know what you have to do, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to push you off then. Lamar, maybe you can give me a little bit of a hand here. We're going to push her off and let her get started.
Holy Mary, Mother of God. Oh, this should be fun. Don't fall in, Bill. Okay. Now, I start it?
Sure, go ahead and start it.
Bye. All right.
I know I could do it.
Forgotten about leaning forward, hasn't she?
Yeah.
There she comes now.
Yeah, she's a light person. She needs to lean way forward to get over the wave the craft makes.
It's almost like on a boat getting it up on a plane.
Right. It's a lot like that. Yeah.
Okay. That's what it looks like. It feels like.
Yeah, but the person is the kind of uses body English to maneuver the craft.
The body English as well as the handlebars.
are totally wrong. I am soaking wet.
Why didn't you lean forward? We're standing here waiting for you to lean forward.
I don't think she's heavy enough.
I was leaning forward.
Was it fun?
It was fun. I was leaning forward and I wasn't going anyplace. I was going into the water fountain.
Kimmy, tell the camera.
Don't go away, folks. I'll be right back.
Okay, so I forgot to talk. At least I didn't scream the whole time. Now, as we explained earlier, hovercraft and hovercraft racing has become a big sport in the Southeast. Let's take a look at some of the folks that, like Lamar, really know what they're doing.
All right, we're back, and now here to call the first race, as always, our experts in the booth, Pete Scalzo, and today we've got Ron Crashmalina along with us.
Thank you, Ernst. A good start here. Coming off the line first, we have Kevin Bedsworth running in second place, Guillermo Novillo running third. Now it looks like a flyer in a homemade craft. Ron, who's that?
That's Bob Wint, Pete, and he's got both a lift engine and a thrust engine, and behind him, he produces close to 500 pounds of thrust out of that craft. He is one of the best flyers in the country.
Well, we have some of the other, I was just going to ask you about any of the other homemade craft, and there was another one down, Ron.
Gary Lucky, he's down already. Gary's had bad luck the last few races, Pete.
All right, back to your leaders once again. In the lead, we have Bedsworth running in second place, not for very long, as the second place flyer, Novillo, was just passed by Wint.
Watch Bob Wint and Spiny Bedsworth on the straightaway here, Pete. These guys are absolutely flying.
There's a long back straightaway, and there's a shot of Kevin Bedsworth riding for Team Scat. And as you said, Ron, down that back straightaway, they get up a lot of speed. Looks like Bedsworth has quite a bit of a lead, but here comes Big Bob.
Well, Big Bob's going to catch him in the straightaways, and Kevin's going to pull away in the turns.
All right, back to the leader as they make the transition on these hovercraft from the water back onto the land. The leader is still Bedsworth. Again, the most unique thing about this kind of racing, and this is why it's gaining such popularity all over the country, is making these transitions, as you saw again right there. Going on an off-camber, he went off the higher part of the dirt onto the water. And Ron, today, opposed to some of the other races that we've seen on Hover World, this race course here, it looks like there's quite a bit of a distance between the land and the water. It seems like it's quite a bit of a drop.
Yeah, Pete, it doesn't look it on film, but it's very deceptive. There's at least a 3 or 4 foot drop from the land to the water. I was on the track earlier, as you know.
Well, I can see here as they come onto the water, you do have one bit of an advantage here, Ron, opposed to some of the other Hover World shows, is the actual surface of the water. Now, it doesn't look like to be too much of a problem today. Oh, well, look at this now. Before you answer that, please, look at that back straightaway, the way Wint is starting to reel in the leader, Bedsworth. As you said earlier, Bob Wint, tremendous amount of power down that back straightaway. But again, back to that question, Ron, it seems like the water is very smooth. And is that an advantage or a disadvantage?
The smoother the water, Pete, the better off it is as far as racing conditions. We did have some wind back there on the straightaway. In the back straightaway, the winds were fairly severe, which meant that our top speeds were a lot above normal.
All right, so in other words, the amount of the wind was actually at your rear, is that correct?
That's correct, Pete.
All right, back to the racing action here. You see Bedsworth in the lead in the tight parts of the racetrack. Bedsworth does well, but when they get on that long straightaway down the back, you could see the big engine of Bob Wint starts to reel him in.
That will give you a little idea of what a hovercraft race looks like. I'm sure you noticed that half the race was on water and half was on land. Let's return to Terrace View Park and watch Alison as she decides she wants to try it on land.
Okay, we've had a lot of fun in the water. Kimmy, you're still shivering.
I'm still wet.
If you had leaned forward, it wouldn't.
Bill, I was leaning forward. I don't weigh enough. It just wouldn't work for me. It was fun, though.
You said you admitted you did it all wrong.
I admit that I did it all wrong, but it was fun.
What?
And is that saying you admit I beat you again?
Oh, I don't think so. Not at all.
No.
Lamar, a couple quick questions. The crew in between these shots, very often the guys, this thing obviously has attracted an awful lot of attention. Okay. How do you license this thing, or is it licensed?
Well, the Coast Guard considers it a boat, and so you have to get numbers in whichever state you're in.
Okay, so maybe we don't really know in all states. maybe in
yes,
Illinois?
Yeah, it might vary from state to state.
They might call it a snowmobile in Illinois because you guys don't know about snowmobiles in Miami, right? But so that's sort of a vagary right now.
Yeah, because it can go on so many surfaces. Yeah. How do you classify it?
As a matter of fact, hopefully, when the snow and ice is here, when we're doing the snowmobile stuff this winter, we're going to talk these folks into getting one of these things up here. And we want. What do you think, guys? Want to try it on ice?
Very much.
Okay, maybe we could get the chickens here. Now, you thought it was great fun, but you don't want to drive.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was fun to ride on, but I don't want to be...
in control.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well...
Christine, come down here. Here you were going to be all brave. You assured me, even though you can't drive and don't have a driver's license, you assured me you were going to... What happened?
I did not.
She was brave, though. She rode on it. She was brave.
Did you have fun?
Yes, it's a lot of fun. It is. It's a lot of fun. Can I ask one question before we move on? I was just curious, Lamar. Is the fan blades, are they driven off of the crankshaft? I'm curious to know how that,
She wants to know how the drive gets from the engine to the fan rotor.
It's a direct drive. We have a 2-to-1 gear reduction from the engine. There are no belts and pulleys as some other craft have.
Okay, so in other words, this is it got a gear reduction right on the crank as part of the crankcase and crankshaft arrangement.
Yeah, yeah.
It's okay, Chris. It's if you take a look back there, and I don't think our camera can see it, but as you can see right off the back of the engine, there is actually a gear reduction unit that apparently cuts it in half. So it's running at 1/2 crankshaft speed.
That's correct.
Okay, does that answer, Chris?
Yes.
Okay, what we're going to do here now is we want these guys to have a little bit of a chance to fool with this thing on land a little bit rather than the water where they're getting soaking wet, okay?
Okay.
So I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you to hold the mic. I'm going to help them. If you step right over here, maybe right about here, okay? Allison, fire it up.
Like she's getting the hang of it.
You have more confidence than I do if you think she's getting the hang of it. Now she's coming back. Should we step out of the way?
Yes.
We better step out of the way if she's coming back here. Tell the camera.
Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back. Okay, I admit it. I couldn't get it up on land, but I had a ball.
We all did, and hope you enjoyed it too. We're out of time for this week.
We sure are. Paul Schultz, you're on.
Thank you, ladies. It looked like you had a great time, but all good things must come to an end. We have only enough time to acknowledge our award-winning production team, including Chuck Itzenthaler, John Patke, Mike Sabatino, Randy Benzie, Diane Kozik, Kevin Wendorf, and Bill Moore. And to thank those that create music for Motorsports Unlimited, including the talented folks at Fireside Recording Studio in Westchester, Illinois, and independent musical artists Roger Pauley and Jerry Herbert. A special thank you to JBTV's video magician, Jerry Bryant. And of course, we have to thank the stars of this edition of Motorsports Unlimited: Kim Donahue, Laura Stennis, Alison Damore, Chris Schutz, and our host, Bill Wilt. Me, I'm Paul Schultz, reminding you that when Motorsports Unlimited tells you we're going to show you something very cool, we deliver.
While we watch a little hovercraft action, let's acknowledge the work of those who helped digitize and save this classic show. Tom McGrady, our webmaster Frank Barb-Lace, May Chin, Art Lauschat, Samantha Bentley, and me, I'm Janine Lauschat.
Enough, and I'm going right for that fountain.
This program made possible in part by support from ABC Auto Parts, located on Ashland Avenue at 138th Street in Blue Island, Illinois.
This program made possible in part by support from Bridgestone Firestone and your local Bridgestone Firestone tire retailers.
This program made possible in part by support from Copy That, located in the County Farm Plaza at County Farm Road and Army Trail Road in Carroll Stream, Illinois. This program made possible in part by support from PB Food Products, located on 47th Street at Western Avenue in Chicago, Illinois.
Motorsports Unlimited is produced by Bill Wilt, president of the Motorsport Advancement Crusade.
This program made possible in part by support from J.C. Whitney & Company, located just off I-80 at the Utica exit in LaSalle, Illinois.
This program made possible in part by support from Jimmy's Red Hots, located on Grand Avenue and Pulaski Road in Chicago.
This program made possible in part by support from the Chicagoland Toys for Tots Motorcycle Parade, held on Western Avenue in Chicago, the first Sunday in December. Motorsports Unlimited was created to raise public consciousness, understanding, and appreciation of the motorsport community and their activities. You can contact us by email at msutv.com, or you can write to Motorsport, P.O. Box 66242, Chicago, Illinois, 60666. We enjoy hearing from our audience. Please let us know what you think.
Next week on Motorsports Unlimited, we're turning the clock back nearly 20 years, 19 to be exact, with all the excitement created by the Chicago Brushmasters at the 2008 World of Wheels Show. We decided to dig back into our masters and remind you of the first time we addressed the problem of the underappreciated artists in our sport. Check it out next week on Motorsports Unlimited.
That's it, another edition of Motorsports Unlimited.